Hi everybody, my name is Yannick Page and I wanted to share my experience with the motor insurance claims process in Jamaica for two reasons. Mainly because one, I think the system is broken, and unless people actually step out and share their experiences, we're not going to see a change. And the motoring public is generally affected. There are a lot of people who are going through issues right now in terms of getting their insurance claims settled, how long it takes for insurance companies to settle claims, and kind of the rigmarole that people have to go through, the cost that they have to bear, and just the loss that they're out of in terms of when you have any kind of accident involving the road, right, in Jamaica. So that's a big thing. And then the second thing is I want to share some good information which I think will help people who, one is proactive, so that you're not necessarily, if this happens to you, and it can happen to anybody, you're in a position where, you're likely to not be, not to have this loss and not to have any, not to have the difficulty that I've found I have and that several people have had. So let me just say that there's someone who recently shared a video about the whole insurance claims process and how upsetting it was. And I've actually written about this experience. I wrote about it a few weeks ago, and then when I watched the video, I said to myself, you know what, Yannick, you really have a responsibility to share your story. One, because whenever people come out and share their story, the quickest thing for people to do is to vilify them and to say, and to try to discredit them. And so you have strength in numbers in terms of if more people come out and tell the truth about what they're facing in terms of, when they've suffered an accident on the road and how the insurance companies make it impossible for you to settle the claim, how long they take, how difficult they make your life, and then what happens afterwards, whether you're right or wrong, is a big deal. And every single person who has insurance, if you ever have an accident, you don't know your insurance company until you have an accident. Let me just say that. You think your insurance company could be the best in the world. Folks, until you have an accident, you have no idea who you're dealing with. So what happened to me? April 9, 2018, I was traveling along the road and I stopped to make a turn and a driver hit me in my back, right? Hit me in the back of the car. I thought it was a pretty simple thing. Somebody hit me. It's an accident. It can happen to anybody. And so we reported it to the police. What was interesting was that the other driver refused to take responsibility. Well, your insurance contract say you mustn't take responsibility, so that's fine. But what do? We call the police on the scene. So the police comes on the scene. There was actually an eyewitness, as luck would have it. God is very good. There was actually an eyewitness. And on top, so I just quickly went to the police station, reported the issue, had the police also look at the damage and so on. And the police spoke to both of us. The police officer who came on the scene is also the police officer who did his investigation, who also wrote the police report. The police report comes back and it says this accident happened and the other driver is at fault. So folks, I think I'm in the clear because I have a police report that says the other driver is at fault and this accident actually happened. The person who investigated the accident, who is a police officer who wrote the report, is the same person who came on the scene. So I said, okay, good. I'm in the clear. I don't have any issue here. But then they ask you for an independent assessor's report. So you have to produce a number of things. When you have an accident, you have to produce your report from the people who will repair the car, right? So that's the dealer, all right? They have to go through and the dealer charges you. So remember now, I'm in the accident. I have been injured. I have to go to the doctor. I have to do my x-ray. Then the doctor says you have to do the MRI. My costs are tallying up, because all this time you're hurt. And not only are you in pain, but you have medical expenses. Plus you have all of this medication. Plus you have further tests to do. Plus you run up and down because you don't have the use of your car. Anyhow, I get a report from the repairers as to what it will cost. They charge me for the report. I have to pay for the report up front. Then I have to get an independent assessor's report. And of course, you can't get that from anybody. There's a particular company that all the insurance companies seem to like. They seem to be the preference. So I go there because I say, I don't want any problems. Let me go with who they call the brand name assessors, right? I get that assessment report. It comes back. It is in my favor. The assessor is very detailed. They ask you about the statement. They ask you you a number of different questions. And what happens is that they then look at the damage, and based on the damage and their experience, they're able to say how they think the accident happened. So now I have an assessor's report that is in my favor. The assessor's report says this person was hit in the back. I have a police report that's in my favor. Good. I submit that to my insurance company and to the other insurance company. Folks, what do you think happens? The other insurance company said they're not accepting liability. They're going to have to do an investigation. I said, okay. So what is this investigation? Because you already have the police report, which is an investigation, the most independent that there could be. You have an assessor's report, again, another form of investigative mechanism. But all right, the insurance company said they need to do an investigation. What do the insurance folks do? They hire their own investigator. I don't know, Jamaica, you tell me if you think it is possible that an insurance company can hire their own investigator who they are paying and that person is independent. I don't know how that is possible, but somehow it happens in Jamaica every single day, and that report carries all the weight in the world for them. Maybe all of us could just hire our own investigators and they will write any report that we want. Maybe that is the solution. The long and short is that the insurance company hire their own investigator who does his investigation without me, without looking at my car, ever speaking to me, and all of a sudden it is contrary to every other piece of evidence that has been put forward. Take that deep breath. So, where are we now? At this point, I have spent a lot of money because, check up the cost for me now. I have been in an accident. I've had to immediately seek medical attention. I've had to do an x-ray. I've had to get medication. I now have further investigative medical tests required in the form of an MRI, because the X-ray come back and say, no, the damage to the back is significant, okay? I'm in pain and I have no vehicle. I have to pay my, the repairer it was $10,000 to give me an estimate of repair. Then I have to pay the independent assessor to give me their report. And after all of that, the insurance company looks at all of the evidence that is independent, and then they decide we're going to create our own. This is what happens in Jamaica. Bearing in mind, folks, I'm the founder of Future Services International. Make no mistake about it. I'm in a better position than most people to be able to handle issues like this. I don't really have to do this live video, honest to God, because at the end of the day, this matter is now before the court, and I'm very confident. See, once you tell the truth, it's very difficult for the people who are telling a lie to succeed, because I can tell you, you tell lie in one dispensation normally is one thing, but you see, when you go to court, the judge can see beyond all of that. By the time they ask you 2 questions, you realize that the lies kind of fall apart. But I'm doing this video for the average person, because how many people can afford to be in a situation where from April 2018 until now, the average person wouldn't be able to fix their car out of pocket? I had to fix my car out of pocket. I have insurance and I have to fix my car out of pocket. And I've had to make all of these payments. I have to file the matter in court. A lot of people will say, well, you need to get an attorney. I completely agree. The issue for you is that an attorney is going to cost you. It costs you to get a consultation. There are some attorneys who will do it on what you call a contingency fee basis. But at the end of the day, it still costs you to have a consultation. It's going to cost you to get the medical report. It's going to cost you to get the police report. If you're going to file a claim in court, it's going to cost you. It's going to cost the attorney when they have to write, when they have to put the file together. Who has all of that money, and why does it have to be this complex? Why are we clogging up the court system with what should be very basic claims that an insurance company should be able to say, this is the objective evidence and I must settle? And who does it? Who does it favor? The average person can't afford it, so they leave it. Yesterday, a man stopped me and said, Yannick, I'm so glad that you actually shared your experience. I told you guys that I wrote about my experience already. I did it in a LinkedIn post. I wrote to the Gleaner already, and I shared it with my member of parliament. Every single one of you who have gone through this stress, share it with your MP. They are the people who are in charge of making legislation. As it is now, the insurance regulations need to change. The act needs to change, and insurance companies cannot operate as a law unto themselves. It shouldn't be that an insurer can tell that they're going to do an investigation, and 6 months later, 1 1 year later, people still waiting on investigation. And who are these people to hire their own investigators? Can an investigation that is paid for by the insurance company truly be independent? Let's be realistic. If I am paying you to do an investigation for me, the first one you do that is not in my favor, would I continue to hire you? Let's get real, right? So, I mean, there's such a gross conflict of interest there. And on what basis do they disregard a police report and an independent assessor's report and then create their own report and then say they're not paying a claim? And if you ask me if I'm angry about it, I absolutely am angry because it is wrong. And the average person cannot. If we look at this, folks, let us be realistic. 40% of Jamaicans are squatters, right? That's the reality. 40% of Jamaicans are squatters. Most people don't own their own property. Your motor vehicle, if you can afford one, is for many people the most significant investment they have. For most of them, it is not a luxury. It is they need it. They need it to go to work. They need it to take their family to school. Some of them need to earn their bread. The average person would have their vehicle sitting down in a garage, rotting down from April 2018 until now. I haven't even gotten what you call the M1 form for mediation. This accident happened in April. We've had to file suit. Would you believe that it is now February and I haven't even gotten a date for mediation? People are looking at, if you're going to talk about trial, you're looking at 2023, 2024 dates if you want a trial. Who in God's name could be able to sit down and wait 5 years without their vehicle? In some cases, simple accidents. It is wrong, Jamaica. It is wrong. And the average person cannot afford it. It is wrong. I cannot tell you guys how I feel this. And I've written about it and I say I wasn't going to share because sometimes the passion will really, you're going to express things that you don't want to say, but this is not a fair country. It's not a fair country. And the people who don't have the money are the ones who get shafted the most. Because I can speak comfortably because I could afford to take care of my medical bills. Even when I'm out, I still had a way to be able to get food. What about the people who can't work? What about the people who can't afford the medical treatment? What about the people who couldn't afford to rent a car in the period when the vehicle is out or they can't borrow somebody's vehicle? What about the people who are going to lose them work or they have no car? I mean, and these are basic things. It can't continue like this, right? And this issue about investigation and the contradiction you have where you have insurance companies hiring their own investigator to do reports and the reports come back contradicting the police report plus the assessor's report. On what basis? Right? I keep asking the question, who vote for these people? Why are they alone to themselves? At the end of the day, at the end of the day, this is a very small industry. It's what you call an oligopoly. And what happens is that you have a few players who act like... You have a few players who are able to dominate in such a way that consumers don't necessarily have a choice. I'm going to tell you guys the biggest kicker for me. You know what really got me about this? I have bought an accident forgiver rider, which means I pay a little bit of money extra every single month on the insurance because in the event of an accident, I don't want to lose my no-claim bonus. I don't want the insurance company to penalize me. Jamaican people, would you believe that after this accident happened, this accident the police report says was not my fault. This accident the assessor says was not my fault. This is somebody hit me in my back. But I also have the accident forgiveness. Would you believe that my insurance premium doubled? My insurance premium came back, it doubled. Okay. So I called the insurance company, I asked them, I said, what is going on here? Why is my insurance premium doubled? I'm not making a claim, you're not paying out anything. I don't even touch the fact that in Jamaica, most of us are paying excess or what we call deductible. That is quadruple what any other democracy have their people paying. It's like you have insurance and you don't have insurance. Because you have people who paying deductible up to all 8,000, 10,000 US. How come? Why? How can I be paying insurance and I have deductible of 8 or 10,000 US? That is my cost. Then that is not insurance. Why should I have a deductible that is more than even 500 US dollars, 50,000, 60,000, 70,000 Jamaican dollars? Why? Why the insurance coverage hasn't moved in the past couple of years, and yet still every year we're paying more in premiums? And every single day we hear about people scamming insurers. Yes, we want to hear who's scamming the insurers, but we're not talking about how the insurers scamming the people. So, the long and short of it is that I put out a notice on Facebook about my experience, and I wrote about it. And I said, how is it that I have paid for this thing and that the insurance company is now telling me, Jamaican people, the insurance company is now telling me that I must pay double the premium. Well, would you believe that by the time I made that post in the morning, the insurance company called me back and update me and tell me that they made a mistake. Oh, Mrs. Page, we're so sorry we made a mistake. Your insurance premium should not have increased at all because you have the accident forgiveness rider. And there are people who have asked the question, well, what if it wasn't Yannick Page? And what if she didn't use social media? And how many people out there, the insurance company made that error and they're paying double the claim? And, you know, a lady actually said to me, and I addressed it in my article. She said, well, you know, Yannick, you have a lot of links and connections. I do. Have I used them in this case? I have not. The only thing I've done in this case is to take the advice I would give any other person. Write to the Gleaner's insurance expert and see if you can get it resolved in an amicable way outside of legal action. Why? Because the minute you get the law involved in terms of courthouse, you lose. May I ask you? May I tell you? There are people who will say, boy, you go and fight. It's novice them. They don't know what it is to fight, and what it costs and how long it takes, and the fact that the attorney must get paid. They're not doing it for free. They must get paid, and they must get paid the minute you go and tell them good morning. You must pay them, and you cannot expect them to work for you for free. You just can't, because they have their bills to pay. So when you talk about court action, the gentleman who was on social media bawling about it, court action is going to take him, if he's looking at trial, is 2023, 2024 dates, you know, sir and madam. Those are the dates that we're looking at, you know, right? And something is wrong. Something is wrong. You know, we just can't continue in a country like this. So anyway, this is what I've gone through so far. And I promise you that I will tell you how you can prevent this from happening to you to some extent. I'm not saying it will never happen, because we're still operating a very dysfunctional system, and it is wrong. And I'm asking you to write to your MP, and I'm also asking you to write to the Prime Minister, and I'm asking you to write to the leader of the opposition. It must change, because, you know, when we talk about campaign financing, you know, there are a lot of people who are able to exert influence and be able to lobby, and poor people who have nobody to lobby for them, right? That's why you have political representatives to actually get up and do something about it. They have the power to change it. The FSC, the Financial Services Commission, is now looking at changes to see how they can regulate insurance companies better. Talk up, speak out, tell people no lawyer can fix this for you, no courthouse can fix this for you. This is your power to share what is happening and share your experience and tell exactly what burden this is on you. It is wrong. I am out hundreds of thousands of dollars in what should be a basic accident that should have settled already. The minute they get, if I was in the United States, I don't want nobody tell me that this don't happen. Folks, don't tell me this don't happen, because I know what my reality is. I know what it is to operate and live in both countries, and I can assure you there is no basis on which they could deny a claim with a police report that is in my favor and an independent assessor's report and the type of accident which is a hit in the back. No basis. It couldn't happen. Some people have said we need an insurance ombudsman. Maybe that is the case we need in the short term. Whatever happened, Jamaican people, it is unfair. I tell you, a gentleman stopped me yesterday and said he has never had an accident before. Last year or the year before, he said he's out of pocket $600,000 and his insurance premium double, and he's not at fault. He's not at fault. It's wrong. What are we doing in this country? It can't be that some people getting rich at the expense of everybody else. It's wrong. That's why Jamaica's inequality is so high. We have one of the highest levels of income inequality, because the rich continue to get rich and the poor suffer and suffer and suffer. And this is the reason. And when a person suffers this kind of injustice, how you expect them to function? They're angry with. That's why people are so angry and cross. They must be angry. because they can't get justice. And even when you do get justice, it is at a cost to you, because no matter what, even if the insurance company settle with me tomorrow, I have been out since April 9, 2018. No matter what they do, unless they're going to pay me interest on the money, which they don't do, I am out. I'm at a loss. And it already put me through stress that it never necessary. And if I wasn't a person who would speak up and make up noise and insist that I'm not taking it, my insurance premium would have doubled on me and I would have had to pay it, and I am not at fault. And even if I was at fault, I have accident forgiveness. So how many people having this problem now where the insurance premium double and they're paying it out of pocket when people so much people can barely even buy food? It's not right. It's not right, folks. So what do you need to do? That's a mouthful. Everybody can say that I'm a little passionate today, but again, sometimes you have to face the injustice for you to understand what people really feel. This is the purpose of having lawmakers. That's why they're supposed to be representing in Parliament, and this is what they must be doing. So first things first, I've since bought a dash cam. Everybody who use the road, if you have a car, borrow a vehicle, please get a dash cam. If I had that dash cam in my car at the time, all I would do, and funny enough, the insurance people did say to me, this is a very common thing now where people hit people in the back and then say that they're reversing to them. And they actually have had cases where they've had people who present the dash cam, the footage from the dash cam, and it shows that the other person is at fault, and right away there's no long argument. The case just settled. So you don't want to give the insurers any even little bit, because they benefit from dragging it out. Their cash flow benefits, they benefit, and the only person who suffers is us. So you need a dash cam. The second thing is that when that accident happens, and God forbid if it does happen, come out of that vehicle and take note of everything. Look at who is passing. Look at what was. See if you can get people's name, information. See if you can get the registration plates of the other motor vehicles that are around. I didn't take the number of the man who saw, and I had to go lay wait the man. Several days me park and lay wait this man to get the information to say at least I have the eyewitness. So folks, try to get people's information right there on the scene. If somebody's there and they were in front of you, behind you, once they saw, flag them down and beg them, please give me your information. And folks, if you see an accident, stop and offer people the information. If you see an accident and you can really say what happened, stop and say to them, I saw, here is my name and my number, and I'm willing to help. Because you would be helping out somebody, and that could turn around to be you one day. The other thing that I would say is that you must call the police, ask them to come on the scene, beg them, please do. If not, go straight to the police afterwards. Make sure you go and seek medical attention. Even if it's not that day, go afterwards, because sometimes when you get those licks, you don't know how serious they can be. They manifest afterwards, and this is what you're paying your insurance for. People don't like it because they don't want you to know what your rights are. But the part of insurance is not just to cover accident on the road in terms of your damage to your vehicle. It is also to cover the injury to person. That is what insurance is. That we're not giving them money because we want to make them rich. We're giving them money because they're supposed to provide a service, and it is mandated by law. And the purpose of us paying them is that when this happens, we are not scammed. When this happens, they pay out what they're supposed to. So folks, if you're injured, you are entitled by law, and you have 6 years in most cases. So if it happened to you 5 years ago, you still have time. A lot of people don't want to know the rights. And when I talk up and when other people talk up, you hear all kind of things. They look for every reason to discredit you. Don't listen to anybody who come in to discredit you. Understand who the power players are in this country and how they get rich. And what their influence is, right? Take pictures. You have to exchange documents. Make sure you note the name of the road. Make sure you note because it's amazing how sometimes you go to the police and they ask you, what is the name of the road? You did an ER, and worse, you're so, you're confused, and then you're traumatized, because an accident is traumatic. So note all of those things and get that information. And then, please, let me just tell you, if you can, buy the accident forgiveness rider. Why? Because you see, when you're no claim gone, your insurance going to double, right? For some people, it's all more than double. So an accident forgiveness rider really helps. I'm going to put some more tips here in the body of this video so it can help you. But I'm just going to encourage everybody, share your experience. Share your experience. If you need help, please feel free to send us a direct message to this page. I'm more than happy. I can share information. I can give you help. You guys know that this is Future Services, so we're more than prepared to offer support. And nobody's gonna bully me and make me feel as if I must surrender my rights. It's not gonna happen. But at the same time, if I can share information, I can help people. And if I can say to policymakers and lawmakers, this must change, and we have the power to do it, let it happen. It can't be. And when we have the National Integrity Action talking about campaign financing, folks, there's a reason why they pound the campaign financing, because the people who pay for the campaigns are the ones who made the rules. You and I do have no money to donate to political parties, so we don't get no rules or no law change in our favor, right? So you must understand the political dynamics of what happens in your country and how it disenfranchises you and your children. And it's wrong. And I'm just reminding everybody that when somebody buys a motor vehicle, it is one of the most significant investments they have. And when you tell them that by law they must insure it, it is wrong that insurers turn around, and so many people are struggling. And if this can happen to me, my good friend wrote about it in the paper. He said, listen, this is not an average person. This is not, and by the way, this does not mean that I'm not saying, and I want to be clear, because people on social media can be very devious. I'm not saying that it shouldn't happen to me. May I tell you the truth? If anybody happened to, I'm glad, because I'm the best possible advocate. Because the truth is, whereas it was expensive, I could barely manage to afford it. But it's better this happened to me and I speak out, and somehow things change for people who can't afford it. So I am not saying to God why this happened to me. What I'm saying is that I have listened, I have experienced, and my perception of this entire claims process, the motor insurance industry, has changed so dramatically with this experience. Sometimes you have to experience it to know people's pain. So I understand people's pain. I'm coming from a different position as of today, trust me. And I look at people differently, because if this is the way that I would make money at the end of the day, knowing that I am out there and people are suffering injustice, it is wrong. And there are some things that I just cannot do, and some of us must in this country stop and say wrong is wrong. Okay, everybody, so I am going to post my tips here. I'm going to wish you guys, it's the weekend. I chose the weekend to do it because most accidents actually happen on the weekend, Friday night to be exact, especially fatal accidents. So be careful on the road and drive for yourself and all the mad people out there, right? And this really made me, it really made me so, boy, anyway, I'll leave it at, I love my country and I want my country to be better. And if I can be a part of the solution, I will be it. All right? And if you can, so should you. So take care, everybody. One love. Stay safe. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Please share, and please share your own story and share with your MP. Because the power of change starts with you and then them. And don't make it a 9-day wonder. Make up peer noise until we see the change that is fair, right? What is fundamental to any democracy is that people have the right to be treated as equal, right? Them no more than us, and we no more than them. And I want to leave it there. Thanks, everybody. Take care.